Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. What happened to Andy Ruiz versus Chris Arreola? What on earth was going on? This is my reaction to this one, man. You guys before I jump into Andy Ruiz versus Chris Arreola, make sure you guys be sure to subscribe to my channel. You know, KO Boxing Vibe. This is the place to be for the latest boxing news and post-fight reactions. Make sure you guys hit me up on social media on, KO Boxing Vibe 1 on Twitter, official KO Boxing Vibe on Instagram. If you want to support the channel, you want to see more stuff, hit the PayPal link and drop something for the channel. So Saturday, or in the UK, was early Sunday morning. What am I talking about? My previous video I was talking about Billy Joe Saunders. Andy Ruiz had a fight, had his comeback fight after his loss to Anthony Joshua. He fought Chris Arreola, someone that, he's been stopped by people like Deontay Wilder, been stopped even by Vitaly Klitschko. This is 40 years old Chris Arreola, and Chris Arreola, for me, despite his age of around, is he 40, 41 now? He came in pretty good shape, and for this fight, he looking very good, condition, compared to, if you go check his condition against Deontay Wilder, it was a very much better condition here. I think he was around 224 pounds or 224, 225 pounds, something thereabouts. So, the fact that he's taking on the former Mexican heavyweight champion Andy Ruiz must have gave him a lot of drive to really get in shape. He wants to defeat Andy Ruiz. Like, what? I've been the Mexican heavyweight. I'm the guy. I need to prove that I'm the real kingpin, not this guy. This guy just showed up. I'm the real Mexican heavyweight king. No, I think he trained he was really invigorated to prove a point. And this was one of the best performances I've seen from Chris Arreola in a while. He really gave Andy Ruiz a few problems in this fight. And for those he managed to counter and drop, well, not really drop, but he made Andy Ruiz touch the canvas in the second round. Here, in the third round here, he rocks Andy Ruiz with a counter left. Andy Ruiz stumbling back to the ropes. You can literally see his knees buckled, his knees dipped here. Chris Arreola did pretty well in the opening rounds. I think Andy Ruiz won the fight, but I gave Chris Arreola at least maybe a 4, if I'm stretching, maybe 4 or 5 rounds in this fight. Somehow, I can't remember the judges' scorecards on top of my head, but I think you had 2 judges giving it 118 to 109. Can't remember the last scorecard. If you guys can remember the last scorecard, or it's you could drop it into the comment section below. But it was a very wide scorecard, and Chris Arreola wasn't too happy about it. Chris Arreola was like, okay, fine, he could beat me, but but don't take the piss, and violate me with a nonsense scorecard. Because for me, any scorecard saying 109, 118 to 109, it's a ridiculously corrupt scorecard as far as I'm concerned. What? The second round Arreola won it. The third round Arreola won it. For me. So it took Andy Ruiz a bit of time to really, get adjusted to the fight. Somehow, Chris Arreola was, in the early going, he was walking Andy Ruiz back. Later rounds, Ruiz started to walk Chris Arreola back on the front foot. And it was really odd, seeing Chris Arreola was playing Andy Ruiz at his own game. Throwing his shots, countering on the front foot. That's what Andy Ruiz is usually doing. It's like Andy Ruiz too early was trying to prove, show all the stuff that he's been doing with Eddie Reynoso instead of fighting his own fight. It's like this was kind of like an experimental fight where he was trying to try certain stuff. He didn't fight like the way we know Andy Ruiz to fight, constantly on the front foot counter punching. He didn't start the fight like that. He was walking on the back foot, and he relied a lot more in the later rounds on his hand speed more than the front foot counter punching. So it was a very experimental fight from Andy Ruiz. Was I impressed? Not particularly. I wasn't very impressed. Because a lot of people are talking about, some people are talking about is Andy Ruiz punch resistance worse, because of the weight loss. Some people are saying, has he lost the power in his shots because of the weight loss? You know, Andy Ruiz at no point in this fight looked like he was gonna really like get stopped per se. He wasn't really buzzed. The first knockdown, he wasn't the touch knockdown. He wasn't buzzed really. The round 3 here, you can see him standing in the bank back. He wasn't really buzzed. What I can say, they were really surprising shots that really caught him off guard. You know, that the fact that they landed. But because even after the fight, you know, they asked him about potentially fighting like a Deontay Wilder, and he was like, you know, even it was his trainer that was like, listen, it's a very dangerous fight. We need to get ready for a fight like that, because Wilder's the kind of fighter, you think you're getting caught out of nowhere by Chris Arreola. You think that sniper right hand will catch you in your chin and put you out. But for me, Andy Ruiz getting caught by these shots doesn't really shock me. You know, Chris Arreola, similar height to Andy Ruiz. You know, his hands, he's got decent hand speed. You know, so, and Andy Ruiz hasn't really fought in the ring, you know, for a while now. So the sharpness, you know, all the sparring is not the same as actually fighting under the lights. No, he's fighting under the lights against Chris Arreola. I think he was actually probably a bit surprised about the fact that Chris Arreola was able to have the success that he had, and the game plan he came with him to do the counter punching and things like that. So he had to adjust to that. He had to adjust to what Chris Arreola was bringing. He had to adjust to the fact he hadn't been in the ring. You know, just being in the ring and actually being in a proper fight, and you know, the sharpness to know what shots are coming and looking in the corner of your eyes and things like that. You know, that wasn't really there early for Andy Ruiz. That seemed to get better later on in the fight. So for me, obviously, it's still very shocking that Chris Arreola, age 40, is causing Andy Ruiz any problems, because everybody said that, oh, Chris Arreola's washed, he's gonna get blasted out of there. Even Dylan White was like, what? Dylan White was like, this guy's a joker. He went in there, was getting drops by Chris Arreola, who's done. You know, because for me, I think Dylan White would have put Chris Arreola to sleep. You know, but you know, I benefit of the doubt. Andy Ruiz coming off, hasn't fought in a while, and we have to wait and see what happens, man. Drop your comments in the comment section below. What did you guys think about Andy Ruiz versus Chris Arreola? Were you surprised that he was actually knocked down in the second round, and you know, had to touch the canvas, or was actually rocked back in the round 3? You know, I ended up somehow getting because I thought this fight was very competitive. It was a very competitive fight. Obviously, Andy Ruiz took over in the later rounds. You know, caught Chris Arreola with some very good shots. You know, like some people are even talking about, does Andy Ruiz even still have the power? Andy Ruiz has never been a he's never been a one-punch knockout artist. Obviously, heavyweight boxing, yeah, he's not a one-round knockout artist. Like Anthony Joshua was buzzed against Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz had to unload a lot of shots to actually put AJ down, and AJ wasn't still flat on the canvas. AJ got stopped in the corner. So this is a guy that knows how to overwhelm people with the quick accumulation of shots, but he's not gonna be. I don't see him. You know, he's not someone that has a track record of knocking guys out. You know, like, it's his hand speed that is the problem. So people talking about Andy Ruiz, his power's gone down. Listen, he caught AJ with a good shot that knocked off the equilibrium. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's got power. Similar to Fury. Fury knocked off Deontay Wilder's equilibrium with that shot in the rematch. That doesn't necessarily mean Fury's now got power in his right hand. Sometimes you might not have power, but you might catch an opponent with the right shot that does the right amount of damage, you know, to knock them off their game plan. So we have to wait and see what happens, man. Andy Ruiz obviously beat Chris Arreola, unanimous decision, ridiculously wide on the scorecard, but it is what it is. You know, we have to wait and see what happens next, man. We're talking about maybe Andy Ruiz fighting Luis Ortiz. I would love to see Andy Ruiz versus Luis Ortiz. We can hear that the Espanol lingo going on right there, man. Let's see what happens, man, and get that Cuba versus Mexico thing going on out there. Drop your comments in the comment section below. What did you guys think about Andy Ruiz versus Chris Arreola? What is going to be next for Andy Ruiz? If you want to support the channel, hit the PayPal link and drop something for the channel. KO Boxing Vibe 1 for Twitter, official KO Boxing Vibe for Instagram, you know, and let's see what happens next in the career of Andy Ruiz. Cool.